Welcome time travelers and welcome new time travelers. As always, if you're new to this channel and enjoy learning about history one event at a time, then don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today we're going to start out in 1583 when Hugo Grotius, the Dutch jurist and scholar whose legal masterpiece De Jure Bella Arc Paris of 1925 on the law of war and peace was one of the first great contributions to modern international law was born. 1633 is when bananas went on sale for the first time in London. In 1949, the safety pin was patented by Walter Hunt in the United States. He later sold his rights to the fastener for just $400. Our next stop will be in 1866, when 3 years after stopping a carriage driver in Russia from beating his horse, Henry Burge of the United States founded the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals in New York City. The ASPCA became one of the largest organizations dedicated to halting cruelty to animals. On this day in 1872, people in Nebraska celebrated the first Arbor Day, planting more than 1 million trees. Other U.S. states and countries later observed the holiday. 1912 is when RMS Titanic embarked on its maiden voyage, which ended in tragedy several days later when the luxury liner struck an iceberg and sank. And there's actually a whole history as to what happened that day. I will try and remember to do a little bit of research on that one. 1919 brought us Mexican revolutionary Emiliano Zapata, a champion of aguerrism who fought in guerrilla actions during and after the Mexican Revolution from 1910 to 1920, was ambushed and fatally shot. 1925 brought us two events. The first event is the first government led by French Premier Edouard Herriot, a radical party leader who had been put into office by left-wing coalition Cartel de Gauchos, fell. And the second event is when American author F. Scott Fitzgerald published The Great Gatsby, which became a literary classic. In 1932, Egyptian actor Amar Shaft, who is known for his iconic roles in such films as Lawrence of Arabia in 1962 and Dr. Zhivago in 1965, was born. In a controlled plebiscite in Australia on this day in 1938, soon after Adolf Hitler's invasion of the country, 99.7% of Austrians approved of Auschwitz which is German for union, the political unification of Austria and Germany. On this day in 1957, and the courtroom classic 12 Angry Men was released in the United States. It starred Henry Fonda as a juror who tries to convince the others that the accused murderer may be innocent. Now, in 1972, the development production, and stockpiling of biological weapons were outlawed by the Biological Weapons Convention, signed by more than 150 countries. 1986 brought us Halley's Comet reaching the perigee, which is the point nearest Earth of its most recent passage near the planet. In 1988, after taking a decade to build, the Sato Great Bridge spanning the inland sea to Japan was opened to traffic. 10 years later, in 1998, the Good Friday Agreement was signed, calling for a developed agreement in Northern Ireland. The accord was ratified by Ireland and Northern Ireland following month. 2001 is when the Netherlands passed a bill permitting enthusiasm, the first such national law in the world. Four years later, in 2005, after police break up a roadblock set up weeks earlier by a group of elderly women in Hoxix Village, Zhejiang Province, China, to protest pollution from nearby factories, thousands of villagers riot in defense of the protesters, destroying police cars and driving police away. 5 years ago, in 2019, astronomers released the first ever image of a black hole, which is in the center of the massive galaxy M87. And with that, we return to 2024 and our current history. Until next time.